welcome everyone to what's really going on in America. Quinn here,
Happy Tuesday, Johnny here, just hanging out.
and and if you want to support this show, um, get yourselves a Human Lives Matter T-shirt because here we will not reduce you to your skin color nor your uniform color. We will judge you based on who you are as a human being.
I, I'm
And
I get
now we got.
I'm waiting for my privilege check to show up in the mail.
Well, we got some. So we got a lots going on within the last since we took a 2 week break. First week was basically my vacation. The second week was we had a thunderstorm last week, so I didn't want to put Johnny in a position where he could be blown away on the show. It-
I would have went to the basement. I would have just hung out down there. It was just unfortunately internet sketchy out here in the sticks. Every time the wind starts to blow around a little bit.
yup. So let me. Here we go. So we got. So let me. Ooh, it would help if I. I kind of forgot to switch my Google accounts.
Oops.
Mm. And of course. Mm, come on. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I will get. Here we go. Ugh, so many. Ah, ah, here we go. Ah, okay. I really do hate technology sometimes.
I mean, you know me. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. The fact that I can make this work is honestly shocking.
Yep. And oh wow. I'll have to watch that live later. Okay, so now hopefully here we go. We're almost there, ladies and gentlemen. And my internet's slow, so please bear with me. I have a couple saved on here, couple of videos, and one of them is going to not be so shocking. It's just that a liberal admitted to something why they don't like the big beautiful bill. And it's not for the reasons they give.
I have many words, a lot.
All right. Okay, so here we go. Yeah, internet. Mm. All right. Oh, Lord, cameras. Oh, hold up. Let me. Mm, let me. Let me. Mm, here we go.
That's the federal health program for the poor. Democrats claim almost 12 million people will lose health care. The bill doesn't change the income eligibility requirements. Instead, it imposes new requirements that critics say some people have difficulty complying with. It requires able bodied recipients to work, attend school, or volunteer 80 hours a month. But critics say it's hard to know where to draw the line on who is disabled enough to be exempt from the work requirement. The bill also requires states to check for eligibility every 6 months to prevent people from double enrolling in more than one state's Medicaid program and remove illegal immigrants or others who don't qualify. It also makes changes to the Affordable Care Act that reduce federal funds to states that choose to cover immigrants who may not qualify under federal rules.
He's taken away so much from people. He's taken away food.
That's a reference to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, commonly called food stamps. As with Medicaid, the law doesn't change eligibility, but includes work requirements for able bodied recipients and extends those work requirements.
Let's stop here for a moment. And so, working 80 hours a month, you know, what they said was you could have a job, do volunteer work, whatever. And I know there are plenty of nonprofit organizations that could definitely use the help.
Oh yeah.
You can get a part-time job easily if you want to put in the work, and the only people who are disabled or tip, most people who say they're disabled are usually just lazy that they don't want to work.
Well, let's break down this because all I keep hearing, yeah, I'm sure you've heard this before. Addiction, it's a disease, right? Which, if it hinders your day to day life, that would technically count as a disability. So I guess I'm disabled. And also, do you know how freaking awesome it would be, like, if all I had to do is go volunteer 20 hours a week, like, at an animal shelter, like, and that counts? Like, I literally get out of bed and go pet cats all day long. Like, that would be amazing. It's like a dream job. And then, like, I get food and, like we said pre show, they're hitting talking points without anything to really substantially back it up. And like I also said, Republicans aren't doing anything on to benefit themselves either on this because they're not explaining what's going on, which I also found out about, I don't know, less than 48 hours ago, that the the all those benefits that we're cutting for the illegal immigrants, that doesn't go into effect until like midway through next year.
Yeah. And and the thing is, it should be immediately starting now. And I mean, why make something a law and make a okay? So maybe next year, fine, whatever. But then there are some other things that it's going to be 2028, and it's like, okay, why 2028 when we could have it now or next year?
Well, so what we do is we have that delayed action on stuff, so then we can argue about it the next election cycle.
Oh, here we go. This is a I am disabled and use state benefits. My benefits will not be changed, nor are they being threatened in any way. I think the change is a good idea and everyone is overreacting.
Bingo. But
There
but
you
see
go.
but Margie, see what it is. You actually looked into it, and the Karens on Facebook saw a post by some weird account, but it was in video form, so it must be true. And they had a green screen behind them that looked like official news media, and now we got to freak out over it because the internet said so, and I'm not going to actually look into it because some stranger I've never heard of from some network I've never heard of from some website I've never heard of said it's true, so it must be true. Also, the water's turning the frogs gay
Well,
because we
there's
saw it
even
on the internet.
reputable people that would fact check just to be not to say they want to lie, but they could also make mistakes. Or also I would fact check them so I would have their back with the truth and see it for myself. So I can say, hey, I saw it for myself and they're telling the truth.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We've become to the point where we're so bombarded with information. It's not that there's a lack of information. There's so much, and there are so many non-reputable things. And I'm going to call out the older generation in particular because they see it on the internet and they believe it is true. And I see so much stuff just reposted. It's like 5 minutes of digging will debunk what you just said, but you won't do it because, oh, my cell phone says something bad. I should share this with everyone. And then it just spreads, and we all look like idiots because of it. And meanwhile, there's legitimate news out there that doesn't get any sort of believable response because they're like, oh, wait a minute, that I can't trust anything. You do realize, like, that's the thing right now. That's the modern day psyop is we flood everybody with so much information, majority of it being false, so that even when something true is presented by somebody with some credibility, we don't believe it because, well, it's just another internet hoax that couldn't possibly be the thing. And we are
And you know what?
humans are too dumb to be this advanced. That's all I have to say. Like, how have we gotten this far to be this dumb?
Exactly. And before we go, I'll say this to close this part out. A couple friends of mine actually said, don't believe anything you hear. Fact check them. Even fact check us. That's exactly what they said. And so with that, let's move forward.
Requirements from the current cutoff age of 54 to 64. It exempts pregnant women and parents with children younger than 14. It
All right, so here we are. So we got raises workplace requirements from 54 to 64. What do you think about that?
I'm just gonna call it what it is. That's messed up. Because remember, we keep calling like 50 as middle age. At 64 on average, you got maybe another 15, 20 years left in you. That doesn't give you any time to retire. And again, they're only giving little snippets of information here. I feel, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I get it. They're raising it up to meet Social Security, and which that's an abomination in itself anyway. But I don't know. I think it's more of it needs to be case by case. Like we're trying to make everything so broad, and we're using one paintbrush to paint the entire house when you need multiple brushes because everything's a little bit different. Um, I don't know. I just not overly thrilled with this budget. That's all.
Um, well, then limits eligibility to citizens, legal immigrants. That's a good thing.
That's a very good thing.
And then shifts costs to states. Now, how do you think that's going to affect the financials in our government?
So I'm here's why I'm for shifting it to the states, and it has nothing to do with the federal government trying to get their hands out of the equation. It's that you have states like New York, California, New Jersey, that want to be these sanctuary states. Cool, do whatever you want. That's your right. You figure out how to pay for it, and that's it. Like that's where I'm okay with that. Um, and it. Well, I mean, you said like how Trump backpedaled or sidestepped the abortion issue by putting it onto the states. Well, it's kind of the same thing. If you want to do something, figure it out. The federal government is not your sugar daddy and is not responsible to pay for everything you want to do. And that's why you have elections. If your voters say we want to do X, Y, and Z, and you don't do it and then don't get elected next cycle, gee, the only person you have to blame is you. You can't point to the guy in the high castle in Washington, D.C. and say, oh, well, such and such screwed me over. No. You did not do what your voter base wanted. What the hell?
And yep. So let's go forward.
It also limits eligibility to citizens and legal immigrants in most cases, and it shifts some of the costs to the states.
The tax cuts that they have made for folks who make an awful lot of money, those tax cuts are permanent. Those are the ones that should be temporary. Let those folks who work in a service industry that most of us would not want to, let them benefit from the tax cuts because they need them.
That's a reference to the much talked about provision reducing taxes on tips. And indeed, those are set to expire in 2028. That's also the case with two other changes. Let's look at all three. No tax on tips. Taxpayers can deduct up to $25,000 in tips on their tax returns.
Wow. And now, if I heard right, he said it expires in 2028. No tips on tax? No tax on tips?
So, I actually talked to somebody about this who works in the restaurant industry and does do quite a bit of tips. So you're still going to get taxed on tips that are if I tax. If I pay my bill with a card and I pay my tip with the card, guess what? It's still reportable taxable income. Now, if I tip in cash, that person can now claim that as income without being taxed. So essentially nothing changed. That's really what it comes down to. They're allowed. All right. So let's say where it does have a benefit is if a person is primarily cash tip and they want to get a loan, they can now claim that tax or that cash income without tax, and now it shows as provable income. So they want to buy a car, they want to buy a house. I mean, there's some people that work at some very nice restaurants that make a really good living on cash tips. But in order to keep that living, they have to not claim it. Essentially, they're committing tax fraud per the IRS because, the scumbags that they are. All this does is allow people to report that, that those cash tips as income. So it'll show when you go, like I said, to get a loan. Okay, well, I actually make $65,000 a year rather than the 25 that I technically made last year. Here's the part that I don't trust. Because I don't trust telling the government jack shit. You're going to have people that are going to now start claiming these cash tips as income because it's tax-free. What's to change, or what's stopping anybody from changing it in 4 years and say, well, now we're taxing cash tips too. And people go back to not reporting it, and suddenly they have a $30,000 decrease in their annual income. I wonder if some of those 87,000 IRS agents are going to go after the person working at the diner rather than, the people who are committing legitimate tax fraud. I'm sorry, legal tax evasion, because we don't change the tax code for the people who we want to pay more taxes. Remember that, Quinn. Because we can say anybody who makes more than $400,000 a year is going to pay 20% more in tax. Well, guess what? Unless you change the code, they're still going to have the access to the same loopholes that they've always had. It's a dog and pony show. It's I hate the government. I don't trust them. I'm glad I brought this with me.
No, I don't either. I don't trust any government. I haven't trusted anyone in real authority since age 4. And the government just keeps giving me more reasons why not to trust it. I wish we could get Laws Mapstead on this show because he doesn't like the big beautiful bill because it doesn't eliminate all the taxes, and he's really big on ending taxation as a whole.
Look, I know there are definitely some good aspects to it. What I don't like is the addition to the deficit. And yes, I get it. We have to get something passed in order to at least get the ball rolling. But okay, that passed on what, Friday? Okay, they should have come in yesterday morning with legislation written to start cutting spending. Because we didn't cut spending. Because all it looks like from our point of view is that you went in there and you took away a lot of crap from people who don't have a lot of crap to give. And all the elite people, they still get all of their benefits. We're still going to have crazy military spending. We're still going to be sending shit overseas like we always do. On our dime, the deficit still goes up. Debt ceiling still goes up. But hey, you know what? Next year, I won't have to pay a tax stamp on NFA items. So that you know what? It's totally worth it. Totally worth it. No, it's hold on. I need a cigarette because I feel the government just screwed me so good. And what pisses me off is that there's people out there literally just cheering for it because of who passed it, and that sucks.
Well, let's continue.
This starts phasing out on incomes greater than $150,000 for individuals and $300,000 for couples. There are provisions designed to prevent regular income from being reclassified as tips. No tax on overtime. Taxpayers will be able to deduct overtime income up to a $12,500 limit, $25,000 for couples. This also phases out for wealthier taxpayers. Trump accounts. This will be a savings program for all babies born in the United States during Trump's second term. The government will make a one-time $1,000 contribution, and families can contribute up to $5,000 a year. The money can't be used until the child turns 18. There are other adjustments to the existing tax code that will affect millions of Americans. For instance, the standard deduction is going up from $15,000 to $15,750 for singles and from $30,000 to $31,500 for couples. Those limits will automatically rise with inflation. And the child tax credit will go from $2,000 to $2,200. It also will rise with inflation. There's a lot more in this bill that we just don't have time to go through tonight, but we will continue to go over some of the items that concern many of you. Reporting in the News Center, Brendan Kirby, Fox 10 News.
All right. And now let's go to the fun video. You've probably seen it, but here we go.
Getting no job. If you go get a job, they're going to take my Section 8. Then you won't be able to get no Section 8. You're not going to get no job. They're going to count your income against my Section 8 and my link card. You're not working. No. So I don't care what you got to say. I don't care how you feel. You're not working. You're not going to get a job. You're not going to school. You're not doing none of that shit. Get on Section 8. Find you a nice apartment. Go get you a link card. You will be fine. You don't have to sit up and work. You don't have to work no job. The government is here to help us. Getting no job. If you go get a job,
Wow, so you heard that, right?
That's nothing new, actually. Like I the first time I heard somebody have a conversation like that was literally 20 years ago. And you know, my girlfriend at the time was managing a business and had a really good employee. Apparently she was fantastic. And hey, do you want more hours per week? You're fantastic. I would, you should be given the opportunity to make more money. Denied. Why was it denied? Because it was going to cut into her benefits. This was in 2000. This was like the very tail end of the Bush administration. Like that's how far back we're going. So this is nothing new.
Oh, wow.
This is literally nothing new, because you could work, but you could only make so much, and then your benefits started getting cut. This is the same group of people who...
And imagine that, too.
Like, this is the same group of people who... Here's what's funny. Quinn, you and I have a kid, okay? We're friends. We each have our own kid. The government would pay us to watch each other's kid. I'm not making this up. Like, this is firsthand people telling me this, okay? And I'm like, well, no wonder nobody's working. No wonder nobody wants to work full time. And, and this is back when, crap was affordable and, you could get health care, for less than a mortgage payment. I almost kind of like, I understand their logic. It's not new. It's not all of a sudden a new thing and a bad thing because Orange Man's in the White House again. No, this has always been a thing. And I hate seeing those TikToks and these people reacting to them like it's something new. This has been going on for ages. It's the same like, a retired person who's collecting Social Security and decides, you know what? I'm bored. I want to go get a job. They can only make so much money until they start pulling back on those Social Security payments, which, despite what people tell you, is not a government handout. That was, the government said, give me money against your will, and I'm going to pay it back to you when you retire. F you, that is my money. Mm-hmm. And the fact that you didn't grow that money and you can't afford to give me my money back you stole from me, and then you have the nerve to get upset when I threaten you with lawsuits, physical harm, voting you out of office, things like that, calling for the I don't know, the dismantle of your uh, organization because you messed up and you can't do what you can't do what you promised me it was going to do. Now that thing that they mentioned about the when a kid is born, they give you the $1,000 in the account. You know what that's really like designed to do? It's going to get misused, obviously, because it's the government. But if we had a kid today, and I was had $1,000 that I put into an account that got invested into just the stock market, it would benefit me. Well, benefit that child, I should say, better than paying Social Security their entire life. Like, you put $1,000 into the stock market when the kid is born and just let it grow at, historic average, you're going to come away with the same or better money in an account when that child reaches retirement age. And you're not getting taxed every week out of your paycheck. It doesn't cost the taxpayer anything. But hey, we don't do things that make sense, remember, because if me, the government, doesn't take that, couple $100 a week from you to throw into this slush fund that I'm going to raid like it's my personal piggy bank, I can't function as a jerk off politician.
And the funny thing about that video too is she is telling her son not to man up. What she's saying is because she doesn't want to woman up. And if you look at her, she is able-bodied. She is able to get a job. She's able to work. She just does not want to work in that video. And then her son may not even want Section 8. He may actually want to man up and do what men do best. And that is contribute to society, fix problems, things men like to do.
What I got out of that video, and like, I mean zero disrespect, it's just, okay, I mean a little bit disrespect. You're telling that kid that you need to rely on the government because she said it. The government is here to help us. And then, when something doesn't go right, the government ain't shit. See it all the time. Because why do you want to be reliant upon somebody who can strip away everything? How is that not like some modern form of slavery? Like, getting fired from a job sucks, okay? But guess what? You can go out and get another job. But if you have zero skill to go get a job, and like all of a sudden everything that was been handed to you for decades is just no longer there anymore, I'm sorry. You made zero effort. It's nobody else's fault. And like, I honestly have this like little tiny shred of hope that video was satire, but I know it's not. I know for a fact that it's not. And you just, when the kid grows up to be a drug dealer, because all right, cool, you got your apartment. Well, guess what? There's other things in life that people want, and then they go out and they become a drug dealer, a gangbanger, whatever people do. And then it's like, oh well, we wouldn't have had to do this if for whatever reason. It's like, so angry.
Well, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Well, and going back to the government is here to help. No, they are not.
No.
Any government that does handouts and all that is there to enslave you, because Section 8 and everything else has terms and conditions. That is in a private sector. Yeah, because businesses need to make a profit in order to stay in business. Well, when the government does it, it means they want to enslave us and want us to obey them in everything. And plus, they don't want us to know what they are doing. So they give us bare minimum everything: bare minimum food, bare minimum money, bare minimum transportation, bare minimum internet speed. So watching Congress do their thing will be nearly impossible. And so forth and so forth. And this is why you can't trust the government, because the private sector does it better, because the private sector has no agenda because government agenda, because what do they care? All they care about is making the next buck. But the government has an agenda. When they give you all this stuff, they want to limit our eyes and ears on them. So you get a internet, you're not going to get the fastest speed. When you get a phone, you're not going to get the best service. You're not going to get the best of anything that we need to make things work today.
So, I love how you set me up for this. It's great. So, I'm sure you've seen the commercial for like the Ford F-150 when they started making them out of aluminum, and not just any aluminum, military grade aluminum they called it, and everybody was like, "Yeah, military grade."
Mm.
Talk to anybody that's ever served in the military and ask them what they feel about military grade. They're all going to come back and say, it was the worst crap ever because they bought the lowest bidder, which essentially equates to it was the cheapest crap available. These are the people who put their literal lives on the line for our country. And they're going to tell you, yeah, everything they give us is garbage. Like, it's all garbage. Like, the stuff that's supposed to help and protect and help, like, the physical human being that is putting their life on the line do their job better, it's junk. Meanwhile, what were those bombs that we dropped on Iran? What do those cost a piece? How much did those planes cost? I mean, yeah, I'll be the first to admit, like, those planes are badass. Like, there's no doubting, like, our military is pretty awesome. It's just, I don't know, it just seems to be like we kind of shit on the people who like do the actual work. And wait, what was that thing we were talking about before where we steal money from the taxpayer and then we give it to our friends that own companies that allegedly do things for the government? Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Cronyism?
No, that would never happen. Raytheon, Northrop Grumman, yeah, all those companies, they're totally not doing it for profit. The worst part is if you get the right lawyers and accountants, like you could pretty much turn any business into a nonprofit. It's actually quite interesting. I could do my job. Like I could like start my own body shop and technically run it as a nonprofit because all I have to do is just not show profit. That's it. Doesn't say that I can't make a bunch of money. It just means like, okay, I have to like look at my books and say, okay, I made X amount of money. Well, my salary is now going to be this amount of dollars. And then, oh, well, shit, we went over our normal revenue number. So I'm just going to give everybody raises. And it's going to be like, profit sharing, but we're not sharing profits. We're just giving people raises. And at the end of the year, I made no profit. Every dollar that came in went right back out the door. So, yeah, it's pretty messed up.
And so let's move on to the no Epstein list. We waited for 5 years for that Epstein list, right? I do believe. And and
I feel
and let me tell you,
yeah. I'm
and
gonna
now
change
all
something.
of a sudden they actually said, "Oh, there's no list." What's wrong, Republicans? Um, I thought we wanted to get the Democrats. Hey, Democrats, I thought we wanted to get the Republicans. Oh, wait. We all know what's going on. It's a uni-party system that actually has no. There's a list, but they don't want to reveal it because there's both Democrats and Republicans on that list, and they do not. And both sides don't want to be found out.
I had to go red for this one. I really did. Like I feel it's such an interesting topic. It's remember all the information's on my desk. You will get a release, and then they released to what was it, a bunch of influencers that I don't give a crap about their opinion. Just put it out there in full. I want to know who's on it, and if you're on that list, and then there's also proof of you doing something malicious. Guess what? I want you prosecuted, and I want you drugged through the streets on public display. Oh, but we're not going to do that. We're totally not going to do that because honestly, I think it really comes back down to my original theory that was it was a government psyop to blackmail people. I really do feel that, and I just I don't. It's just I don't know. I just feel we were lied to. You know, kind of like the JFK thing. Like, what are all these big news releases that we were supposed to get, and we got nothing. Now it's like, oh, he didn't even kill himself. You released a video with timestamp on it, and it's missing what, a minute? Like if you watch it, it jumps a minute. Like I'm not saying that you can't do something like that in a minute, but you're doing nothing to like help us garnish any sort of faith in the government. And it's either that or the swamp is that deep that even like our top officials are really showing that you're being controlled by somebody. You don't have the power that you claim to be. And I really feel like look at a president that served like 2 consecutive terms and look how their initial photo when they took office versus when they leave. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I watched Obama play a lot of golf. And the only reason I bring that up is because that's around the time I started getting involved with politics as far as like actually paying attention. So it's not a left or right thing. It's not a Trump plays golf too thing. No. It's Obama looked like he was having a good time. I mean, I was kind of jealous. Like I would have went and had a beer with him. It's just, hey, it's the president, and that's just what it comes down to. But that man aged like milk. George Bush aged like milk. The only one who hasn't really shown any like real signs of like just decline is Trump, but he got a 4-year vacation, to be honest.
Well, here's the thing. The Epstein list, if it has Trump's name on it, and Biden's, I would say equally accountable, hold them equally accountable, and have them share a jail cell, because I'm not going to play favoritism just because I like many of the things Trump has done for me in my life and made it better financially, but I'm but still, I'm not going to. But no one is above the law. Not Biden, not Trump. And if they're
Yeah.
both, and at one time, Biden was a much younger man back in the 70s, 80s, 90s. So it's not like he wouldn't be on that list. And so, yes, I like many of the things Trump has done for this country, but he needs a. But if his name is on there, along with many other Republicans, along with Democrats, I would want them equally accountable.
All I'm going to
I want
say,
them all in
yeah,
jail.
rapists and pedophiles are
And
not people.
yeah,
I will die on that hill. The minute you become a kid diddler or a rapist, you are no longer a human being, which means you no longer have rights. And I want to see public display of.
executions.
I think that's kind of. I think that's kind of light. I'm a little more creative. I'm also
Well,
not.
don't be
I'm
too
also,
creative.
well, no, I'm going to keep those thoughts in my head. I'm just going to say I'm not in good with Jesus like you, okay? I have some very, very terrible thoughts, and I just use my scumbag inner brain for good. I also, if anybody's watching this, if this list ever does come out and we determine that, pedophiles and rapists are not actually people, I will come work for you guys as far as the punishment is concerned. I'm very creative. I don't know where Florida Man's at right now, but I'll bring him too. He likes raw meat. I think that would be fun. We'll turn it into like a Discovery Channel thing. I'm gonna stop there
Do,
because it's getting dark. It's getting real dark.
well, just remember everyone has Eighth Amendment rights in America, regardless of who they are and how we feel. The Eighth Amendment was created for that purpose.
Just remember, dead pedophiles can't reoffend.
Exactly. I didn't say executions are bad,
I
but
just think
it's
we should make it
how
creative.
you
That's
do
all.
it.
I think we should make it
Be
creative.
creative, but you can't do it slowly and painfully as much as some people I wish I could do it too. But I have
Does
to honor the
does,
Constitution.
does
So
okay. I have I have a couple of ideas. Hear me out. They will be painful, but it'll be quick. Okay. Now, ever seen like like when they think about it like this, we can use it for military training. How about that? So on the ground, there's a bunch of like those big like tow behind wood chippers like you see behind like the tree trucks, but the funnel is aimed upwards.
okay.
And then you push the people out of helicopters and try and like lawn dart them into the wood chipper. So worst case scenario is they hit the ground. But I mean, from that height, it's pretty instant. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I mean,
but anyway,
and it would be very entertaining to watch. We could pay-per-view that, raise so much money for like charity. Like people would be like, you Americans are so screwed up. But I'm gonna pay to watch this because I'm gonna sit over here. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna enjoy it, but I'm gonna chastise you guys the entire time.
well, let's go and now let's quickly. We got 10 minutes left, so let's go into Israel and Iran and all that. You mentioned it 3 weeks ago. That's getting spicy overseas there.
Yeah, I think that was an understatement. It's getting it's like Diablo sauce spicy right now.
And do you think World War III is heading our way?
No, I actually don't. I think it's a talking point because right now anything Israel does or anything we do to help Israel is going to cause World War III. We're not even going to acknowledge the fact that Iran is funding these people. Like, come on, people, we have proof, okay? Like, we went over there and we smacked Iran right across the mouth. And then all of a sudden, like, some of these, like, non-associated terror groups have, like, really crappy equipment all of a sudden. It seems all too coincidental. I'm actually, one of the things that pisses me off, though, I have to say this, is, and the only reason I know it's BS is because back during the first term of Trump, we hit their targets and they hit our targets. They let us know they were going to hit our targets, and we let it happen because, we have to let them, have some sort of save face kind of moment. So, all right, so they bombed a military base, one of ours, in another country. Hey, Iran, if anybody's going to start World War III, it's going to be you. And I'm going to tell you right now, Iran, there's a really, really good YouTube channel out there that did, like, the numbers on, like, how you would hold up and the only caveat for this entire comparison is no nuclear weapons. So it's a series called USA versus the World. We compare militaries, vulnerabilities as far as invasion, things like that. Iran, you are so screwed. And I'm anti-war. I do not want war. I don't want people to die for, two political leaders, argument. But, like, hey, we're really good here stateside as far as, like, we'll let you F around, but we really enjoy giving the find out. Like, Quinn, that airstrike, I don't care about anything other than the operation itself, okay? Everybody's like, oh, well, it didn't actually do anything, and, it ended their program. No, I don't care about that. Here's the fact that is interesting. We sent how many aircraft over there? And nobody knew it happened until it was done.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm sorry. That is, I'm trying to think of, like, the least grotesque way of explaining this, but, like, I'm really drawing a blank because, like, the term I want to use is just freaking terrible. We walked into their house. Yeah, we walked into their house. We took a crap on their floor, and we're gone before you learn where the turd came from. That's as nice as I can make it because, it just way too graphic. I know Rumble doesn't care, but I'm trying to. Yeah, just think of the worst possible thing you could do to somebody. Like, but seriously,
Well, just remember,
we flew halfway across the earth and back. And, like, okay, cool. Some people got some pictures of the spicy sky Dorito. And, like, oh, the sky is missing pixels, as they've been calling it. Because apparently when you look up at the thing, it looks like a video game glitch. It's freaking awesome.
Well, just keep in mind, we're on Rumble, Locals, YouTube, CommieTube, and my Quinn Allen WRGOH Facebook page.
Well, that's why, like I said, I knew the words I wanted to use were
and pickaxe.
Yeah, so the people who love what I was going to say would even be like, you probably shouldn't say that on the internet. But it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah,
it's fun. It's very insulting.
So I'm gonna take my 2 minutes. I'll give you your 2 minutes to make final thoughts. So the big beautiful bill overall is a great bill. It's not a perfect bill because there's so much that is in there that we wouldn't have time to look into tonight alone. Um, it's going to definitely save us a lot of money on the federal level. So if we're spending more money on the local levels, it's because we're not fighting hard enough for this country. We're only fighting for the federal part, but not the rest of it. And if we get taxed heavily, it's going to be our governors, state reps, it'll be county executive and commissioners, it'll be city hall and mayors and so forth. And then the school boards that always like to steal from us here in Allentown. And if I went through the things I don't like about the bill, we'd be here all night. So
Yeah,
let's go ahead.
I was gonna say it's we got a fancy Italian sports car is what we got. We got a lot of flash, we got a lot of noise, a lot of good attributes, but it's unreliable. It's not sustainable, and they just need to use it as the first stepping stone of like going through and actually doing some proper change. Yes, we increased the deficit by a lot. And what my issue is, like we had said before, we're totally okay with doing really dumb things if it's our person doing it, because we're going to defend our dumb person. And Donald Trump added all these people to ICE. The same people that are complaining about that had zero issue adding, 87,000 IRS agents to go after people. They're only going to go after the billionaires. No. But what everybody forgot was, remember any transaction over $600 we're going to look into. We want to make sure you're paying your taxes on that. So I don't want to hear jack crap from the left say like, oh, well, you added all these people to this federal agency. You were fine with it before. Oh, you're locking people in camps. I remember when you had tip lines to report your neighbor because they had more than 5 people over for a gathering during a certain world event. You don't come at me with your morals. You were a tattletale and you were reporting people to the federal government. No different than what's going on right now about reporting illegal immigrants. I think both are kind of shitty because I think a lot of the people that are getting reported on the immigration side are just here to try and legitimately trying to make a better life. And we don't really do any favors as far as like making the legal process easy. Then I heard some guy on the radio today talk about, well, we should figure out a loophole for like the farmers and the hotel workers and the housekeepers. I'm like, bro, you just literally admitted on national radio that you're okay with slavery because you want to pay these people less because they can't do jack shit to you because they're not legal citizens. That to me is kind of effed up. Quinn, I'm sure you've dealt with people, in your day-to-day life. Like, they're just good people. They want to do the right thing. Unfortunately, our government, state, federal, and local, does not do them the service that they deserve, because a lot of these people, the majority of these people, really do want to be American, and we do fail them. And it always comes down to race. It's Mexicans. It's this. Like, no, it's not. Our immigration system sucks, and certain political parties' policies are encouraging people to come here and stay off the books, and then they're going to get taken advantage of by, businesses, corporations, other people. So I don't know. Maybe there's a bigger problem that we're failing to address. And I watched Tom Homan speak the other night. He's like, look, we're only trying to go after, we're focusing our resources on getting the criminals out. And that I can 100% stand behind. Keep America safe. Keep our citizens safe. We don't need criminals here. and I know I'm ranting. There's just so many things that have happened in the last 2 weeks. I just think we could do better. Also, I want to see the business owners of the that hire these illegal immigrants that are being taken away. Maybe there's a law that could be I don't know, enforced for hiring those people. But I don't know. Maybe I'm missing it. Maybe the media is just deliberately keeping it dark. But I don't know. Last I heard, it was illegal to hire people who are not, I don't know, permitted to work here. And that's it. I'm gonna eat junk food and drink beer from the rest of the night.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining us tonight. And we will see you next week.
Hell yeah. Can't wait to see what other
Later.
dumb nonsense. Can't wait to see the next dumb nonsense we have. We got a whole week of that coming up. So prepare everybody and go on another tism rant.